VSO Marketing Manager Margot Van Horn here, and I've got Russell Wilson, our principal violist, calling in from Roxbury, Mass. Thanks for joining me, Russell.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. It's nice to see you on screen.
Yeah. So what was a typical work day like for you back before the pandemic?
Well, in addition to being a freelancer, I'm also a public school teacher and administrator. So I start my days usually waking up about 6:15 in the morning. I teach elementary orchestra at 8 a.m. 5 days a week. And then I have a little flexibility with my day before I go in to do my administrative job. And then I oversee the lesson program in the school where I teach, spend a few hours doing that administrative work during the middle of the day, and then afternoons are either teaching some private students or on towards the weekend, Thursday, Fridays, that would be traveling to rehearsals around the area, or traveling up to Vermont for the weekend. So that's kind of what a typical day used to look like.
So what does a typical day look like now?
Unfortunately, I'm still trained that I wake up at around 6:30 or 7 in the morning, even though there's no place to go. And I've been really trying over the past few weeks to try and make myself read during that first thing in the morning. All of us at this point have that first instinct that we pick up our phone, we look what time it is, and then we see all of the messages that have come through in the last few hours, which I definitely still do, but I've also been trying to take that moment to set the phone down and pick up one of the books that's on my bedside table and spend, a half hour or 45 minutes just reading there first thing in the morning before I go on to other things in the day. Then I'll move on. I have some administrative duties that I've still had to do for my school. We have been able to transition online for all of our private lessons, so I've got those kind of spread out through the week. And I've done a few orchestra sessions with over Zoom with my kids, which is a totally weird experience. And it's me in my room with all of the kids muted, and I'm playing and talking kind of to myself. But I know that they're over there on the other end of the Zoom, and it seems to have been an experience that they've really enjoyed, being able to come and see each other in that way. So it's really fragmented. It's doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, kind of jumping between things, and then at the end of the day, just collapsing, because staring at the computer all day is really tiring.
Yeah. What's something people might not realize about being a professional violist?
I kind of went around with this one. I think the first thing that really actually came to mind is the size of the instrument. It looks an awful lot like a violin, but with it being a little bit longer out here, it's quite a bit heavier. So we deal with that quite a bit. And then our instruments are shaped all wrong. For the acoustics, and the sound waves that we're producing, we actually would need quite a bit bigger instruments. But because we need to hold it here on our shoulders, that's just not possible. So you might have seen if you've been close enough to the stage, you might have seen that a lot of us have really, really different looking instruments. And actually, if you look around the Vermont Symphony Orchestra viola section, you will really see there's at least one example of a totally different style of viola, where they have, changed that same basic shape where it, has the upper bouts that come out to a corner, and then that little C in the middle, and then it rounds out to the bottom. So there are a lot of shapes and different acoustics that makers are out there trying with our instruments and kind of trying to help us with that weight issue. And one of the biggest things is that, if you can get the weight to sit right here on the shoulder, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
It sits there and it feels light. If it's something that's the farther out away from your body you get, it starts to feel heavy, and you kind of get that really sinking in your body that just happens kind of naturally from that extra weight on that side. And so we're always kind of trying to correct and adjust for that, so we don't end up looking like this when we get to be 80 years old.
This like makes me want to like correct my posture and like stretch my forearms, just like thinking about all of this.
Definitely, yeah. I did a melt class this morning, which is a method of myofascial release that I've just discovered that has been really, really helping me, especially since we're sitting home and, I'm in my chair, sure, I stand up every now and then, but it's not the same as like, oh, I had to get up, I had to walk to somebody else's office and come back and then, get up to file something away and sit back down and all of that kind of normal movement that we usually have during our work days.
So what's the most unusual show you've ever played, if you had to pick?
I'm going to go with just unusual at like a surface level. I played a show a number of years ago that was called Handel's Messiah Rocks. And it was actually entirely based on Handel's Messiah. The entire thing was footnoted. They had actually submitted it to the Handel Society for their approval. And I don't know what ever happened with that, but literally every like bass line, every melody in that was footnoted as to where it came from. But that was a pretty odd show.
But it was like in a rock style, I take it?
It was, yep. It was composed totally in a rock Broadway style.
Was it like a normal or like orchestra, like chamber or symphony orchestra instrumentation, or did you have like, a rock band as well?
It was a small orchestra. So we probably had a couple violin. Well, it must have been probably like 3 or 4 violins, a couple of violas, a cello or 2, some brass instruments on one side. So they kind of did this funny classical versus the rock thing. So we had our little classical side, and we were actually told that we needed to, I don't remember if it was tuxedos or tails now, but we were dressed, in our normal formal wear. And then kind of on the other side of the stage, then they had the drum kit, electric guitar, bass, and it was funny. There were some really, really great people that we had on that tour, but the whole concept is funny.
I bet. So, last question. What's your favorite Ben & Jerry's flavor?
Okay, I have to put a little asterisk by this. Ben & Jerry's needs to get more of their flavors in non-dairy. But I really love their salted caramel. That is so good.
Well, thanks for chatting with me, Russell.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.